Well, I thought I would work on the bottom here to finish it up before going back up to the upper reaches of the painting. You can see we have some cooler light here, maybe some ambient light illuminating these bits of grass that are providing some contrast against the rock, but still quite toned down. And then this is simply in the dark. This is simply in the dark, again cradling, with the rest of what's going on, which is obviously reflecting a little bit of warmer light. I think I like that. And I thought what I would do is carry it on. Bring some light into this crack in the rock. It happens to, because we have a pretty strong line here, I don't mind breaking it up by the notion of a little bit of light there. I'm not saying direct sunlight, obviously not, because this whole foreground is really quite in the shade, isn't it? Just a couple of strokes. Actually, let me just go slightly higher chroma. I'm using ultramarine blue and yellow ochre. There, that kind of marries this to this a little bit. Makes this crack a little more interesting. And again, I'm going to fuss with this slightly. Mix some ultramarine blue and a little bit of burnt sienna. With a hint of turps. Because that line is awfully thin. It's funny, on a painting that's fairly rough, I'm still being pretty persnickety about things, which, I don't know, sometimes I think I work against myself when I do that, but I guess it'll just be my little autistic bit of artism. How about that? I don't like that little snake's forked tongue there. A hint of a line there, maybe? Yeah, okay. Now, something else I'd like to do is define more clearly. See, this is catching a little bit of light. In the foreground, this is really the most warm light. So I think I'd like to, because it's adjacent to this, we'll just lighten this stroke up. Just one stroke. And because this is a cluster of rock or bedrock, and then over the rise here there's more that's more in the shade, I'd like it to stand out more against this. So I think we'll raise the value there with a stroke or two. So let's clear my green off the palette here. And we'll go to a bit of mostly raw umber and a hint of ultramarine blue and some titanium white. Okay, a little more ultramarine blue. That might be too light now, but we'll see. Yeah, it's too light. Too high a value. And getting a bit tidy there too, actually. Just a bit too dark. Okay. That's gonna do. And here, we can go a little darker there, a little lower value. But enough to differentiate more strongly, eh? Like, we want that. We do want that. Oh, it's easy to get too much white in this stuff. Too blue. Taking me a few tries here. Try to make sure I keep some obvious form there. It's not my strongest sort of painting, but it's strong enough that you still need some contrast in areas. Okay, I think that that's very dark. That is very dark. Let's add a hint of, let's add a little bit of light to that too. These spots just, the camera might do a better job of picking up light, but when you're just looking at it, or when I'm standing back and looking at it, I find a couple of these spots to be very almost black. And yeah, I mean the natural sort of, the default position of the thing should be, considering if it hangs in somebody's interior, with even not the best light, you want to be able to see what's there. You don't want any larger type black spots, that's for sure. There I go again, getting a little bit sloppy. Little bit sloppy. Not too bad. All right. Okay, maybe we should just stop playing right there. Let's, shall we? Okay, show you what I've been playing at today here. We'll move the camera. And we'll drop the painting. Okay, right about there. Strokes going in that direction from here. Just a couple, not much. It needed something, but not much. I left it at that. I'm being very tentative now, very careful, because it can easily go wrong. I took away some of the blue that was in behind here. It was very strong, even a few spots here. It was just too high a chroma. So I went to the mauves, filled this area in more or less with strokes in appropriate areas, and back on the other side of this trunk as well. Did a couple of those things. While I'm seeing it, let me just... Okay. So, yeah, at this point, I think I'm not seeing anything, you know, that's yelling at me that says this needs to be changed. I think that from here down on the entire painting, we're good. And from here this way, we're mostly good. I might still lay the odd highlight on the tree or a rock or something. I'm not concerned with that right now. Let me raise the... Sorry guys, here comes that sun again. What I'm going to concern myself with now is, because I'm considering, you know, except for just the odd, you know, that step 6 that I talk about, except the final touches, I have this to concern myself with, and this. Now, should I take a branch, you know, and cut across here? Conventional wisdom would say, you probably shouldn't have a line that straight and that harsh, right from here going right off the painting. Not when you could borrow from a local tree branch or this stump, and maybe cut it, maybe take this little knob here and cut into it to break this line up. Certainly on a vertical, you know. But I'm rebellious, and I know the problem can be solved without a branch. The question is, will it be well solved? So I need to play with that. I need to develop these rocks here, you know, this very dark area, and I also need to change these colors. This has gone, now that I've toned down the blues most of the other places in the painting, I might end up picking up colors that I wouldn't say they approximate these grays. I would say that they will probably, if anything, go maybe a little bit in this direction. A little warmer sitting next to this warmer branch as it leaves the painting. I may take this light off of it. I might make from here this way on this branch so inconsequential that although it's close to us, it doesn't jump at you, it's not immediately noticeable. That's what I would prefer to do, because I'd be breaking the rules. It would be an unconventional way of fixing it. I don't mind breaking the rules. Frankly, as I said before, if you can break the rules and get away with it, you'll end up with a more interesting painting than if you play it safe all the time. It's easy to make a safe competition. It's easy to make a safe composition, but it's more challenging, and I like a challenge. It's more challenging and makes the painting more interesting if you just kind of, if you can bend the rules a little bit. But we'll see what happens. I may still take a branch, catching light, breaking this line here. Don't know. That's my sort of what I'm going to play with a little bit tonight. And tomorrow I'm not sure I'll get too much going on. Let me zoom out a little bit here. My wife's mum passed away recently, and tomorrow she has a lot of, well, she has a big family, and they're very family oriented. So there are some cousins here and siblings and what have you. They're all here. So tomorrow is the funeral, and that's going to take the better part of the day, because there are several other occasions that are all sort of associated with the funeral itself that we'll be participating in. So I don't know if I'll have time to do anything tomorrow. If so, it'll be tomorrow night, once all the sort of hubbub is done. So my mother-in-law had a fantastic long life, pretty good health, well served by her husband, and when her husband passed away about 17 years ago, well taken care of by her children. She was 93 years old, and she seemed as though she was pretty much ready to go. So her spirit left us a little while ago. Now we're going to bury her body. So guys, that's it for today. I don't know if I'll get a hold of you tomorrow. Maybe it'll be the next day. But this will have progressed a little further. And we're getting awfully close to its completion, aren't we? I'm starting to enjoy painting it more again. There's something that we call it, a lot of artists will call it the miserable middle. And it's when you're sort of halfway through the painting. It's still enjoyable, but it's also a slog, because you've sort of accomplished your big strokes, your big movements, the composition for the most part. You've established your colors, etc., etc. So then there's the labor of filling the canvas, but doing a good job of it. As you approach the end, you start to finesse things more, and the visual reward seems to be the gratification is greater and comes more quickly. See you soon.